wanted to run, we wanted to fall together. Back then our world seemed so clear, we grew so bright, shimmering lights around us. We'd take flight into the sky. How many worlds would you cross to use the light that's right in front of you? There is no light on the other side. I say, look straight ahead and you will see. You will see. You will see. How many worlds would you cross to use the light that's right in front of you? There is no light on the other side. I say, look straight ahead and you will see.
It's the land of splendour, home to maple syrup and ice hockey. Welcome to Canada for round 7 of the Trans Nation Challenge. I'm Brett Keenan. Joining me today is Jonathon, Carten, Jaydon, Alton, Guy Tasker and McKenzie Stewart. Before we headline Canada, we're going to have a look back at Monaco. This is take 2, of course, so I'm not going to ask Guy the same question I've asked him previously, but we were just discussing about Noak's undeniable quick pace around the Monaco Grand Prix. The championship picture has kind of switched around with, of course, Guy leading the championship 3 points ahead of myself, with Noah now equal on points with me and David not too far behind in 4th place. So come Canada, we could, unless the two brothers have a mistake, we can see an inevitable switch into the championship perspective. And of course, once the brothers get ahead, there's probably going to be not a lot of stopping them. Looking to GP2, of course, McKenzie, your race was below average, especially given how much...
don't even go there, please. It was just a horrible weekend for me. It all started in qualifying and just got held up in qualifying both laps, and then the race was just absolutely shite. So don't even ask me about that ever again, or I'm sending you back to where you came from.
Well, besides all that, McKenzie, you got to say, McKenzie really relished that race, and of course it was another McLaren Honda 1-2, and Ferrari must be getting a bit worried about this.
Nah, Ferrari ain't worried about this at all. Nah, it was just a challenging weekend for us. The car actually felt really good at when we were able just to keep it out of the barriers. But yeah, it was just that horrible qualifying led to a horrible race, and the team are hoping to bounce back this weekend in Canada. In the free practice sessions this week, we've shown the car's showing that it's capable of producing those quick times, and all we're doing now is hoping we're just praying that the rain doesn't come, because if the rain comes, well then we're kind of fucked. So.
Well, I think a lot of drivers, actually, me included, wouldn't mind a bit of rain, because we Ferrari have done a bit of, the F1 Ferrari team have done a bit of wet tyre testing over the course of the last couple of days, so they feel confident enough that a wet race for them could tip things back into their favour. And GP3 looking to try to capitalise on the new signing of Big Mike 46385, who is originally meant to be there in season 2018, but of course he's been signed over with the departure of Pro Opa from the series. So Big Mike will be looking to help Banana Josh boost their constructor choices. And so, as I said, we're here at Canada, so it's hometown advantage to Jonathon and Jay. Jay, you're bouncing off from a reasonably good run at Monaco. I mean, you were pretty heated in discussion with XNZ Pro about his driving standards throughout the race, but still, despite all that, a P3 finish from a P4 start or P3 start. So you've you've converted your qualifying into equal pace, so you must still feel pretty good coming into Canada knowing you've at least bagged your first podium of your career.
Oh yeah, for sure. A podium's a podium. I mean, I can whine as much as I want about what Mason did, but it's 3 points difference. And coming into Canada, I feel pretty strong. And the most important thing to me is at least being on the podium. Hopefully, a race win. So we'll see.
And Jonathon, you too. I mean, your season's starting to kind of come back to perspective. Of course, the crash in Monaco didn't really help the cause too much, but coming into Canada, I'm sure that you and Mercedes are looking like, I mean, your teammates tied in points at the front of the championship. Mercedes are also tied with Williams in the constructors, so you must be looking to try and do your best to get a good result here at Canada for you, not only yourself but for your team as well.
Yeah, exactly. I've actually had them. I've actually had the team come to me and mention like, hey, you're supposed to be our number one driver, but yet your teammate's been the one carrying the team. It's like they basically laid down the gauntlet, pick up the pace, or I'm not just going to be demoted down to number 2. Pretty much that they're going to take the next couple of races, analyze my performance, and go from there. But they did say they have had some preliminary talks about demoting me down to Force India for F2.
Oh, well, I mean, of course, we know that things are downplaying a little bit over the course of time, but I think despite all that, it looks like a lot of drivers have been caught under the stinger a little bit in themselves. I mean, Red Bull in particular, Warlord 1313 has kind of picked his gear up a little bit. I'm guessing Christian Horner's probably had a few chats with him about trying to stay on the track and bag some results. Of course, Monaco was very unfortunate for him to be so close to the end, and then just a small error of judgment putting him into the fence and out of the race. So a P2 finish, or a P2, maybe even a P3 finish. Despite all that, I think Pure Axle 21 was going to get him at the end, but I think Warlord's pushed probably just a little too hard, too fast, and that's where he ended up in the fence. And GP3, we see like Mercedes is no different, and you've probably noticed it yourself too, Jonathon. Ripper Treach just doesn't seem to be quite up there along with his teammate Matt Daddy, who didn't attend Monaco because he openly admitted that he knew he was going to crash, so he didn't bother showing up. But yeah, Mercedes having a bit of trouble with number 1 versus number 2 driver, it looks like.
Yeah, pretty much. Like I said, I'm struggling in behind Erlandang, and him being the number 2 driver. Like that, like I said, that doesn't bode well for me. That the team looks at it as like, hey, we have our number 1 driver is behind our number 2 driver. So it's like, what's going on here? Did we make a mistake in naming him our number 1 driver? And like they even said to me themselves, is we picked you because you showed the potential to be in the car as the number 1 driver in GP3, but yet you're not showing us that we made that right move.
Well, Spain wasn't so bad for you. I mean, you bagged a 4th place, which is a good result for the team at that point.
Exactly. That's what I told them too. Is like, I mean, yes, it's not a podium or anything, which is what I know you guys want me to start picking up. But it's like I told them. I said, unless I start qualifying closer to the front of the pack every week, or as long as I can stay away out of the incidences that happen earlier in the race, and like there is that chance that I might end up finishing near the back. Do I want to finish near the back? No. I'd love to finish near the front. I'd love to have a win or 2 by now. But it's like, because I'm getting caught up in these first lap incidences, it kind of derails my race, and then the team looks down on me for it. It's like, pretty much they're not expected. Like, I know the expectations of the team. I know what I've got to do, and pretty much that's what I'm going to aim for GP3 with Mercedes. Is I don't want to lose my ride.
Yeah. Guy, what's the atmosphere like at Red Bull? Because I mean, you and Plevs have obviously got a really good working relationship, and then you have the GP2 with Ian Betts and Warlords, which seem to be struggling a little bit for when it comes to driver reliability. And then GP3, you've got one driver that causing a few little headaches here and there, and then you've got one driver that can't even stay in the race long enough.
I think in general the mood has been really positive, actually. I think across the board. I think especially F1, I think probably actually slightly exceeding expectations, even slightly, with myself obviously leading the championship currently. Maybe not expecting to be there, expecting to be up or around there. And I mean, second in the constructors, only actually maybe leading the constructors now after Monaco. I'm not entirely sure, but being up there in the constructors fight at least, yeah, really happy. I think in the F1, and then in regards to GP2 and GP3, I think there's been a turnaround in recent weeks. Obviously, for Warlords has started showing some real pace again, the pace we know he has, and his performance, whilst as you said he unfortunately put it in the wall last week, his performance is much improved, and I think they're really positive about that. That they're going to be a lot stronger there in GP2, and I think the same goes in GP3. Whilst ex-NZ Pro has been ruffling a few feathers, let's say, in GP3, he's got an aggressive driving style, a bit like a Max Verstappen, you might say. But all in all, his performances have really turned around, I think, since Russia, and he's been back up there. He's been stronger. So I think actually the mood's positive. I think all in Red Bull, I think they feel like they're improving all the time, and I think, yeah, I think no reason come the end of the season why in all three categories they can't be in a strong position.
And of course, Red Bull when they convert to the F2, well, the two categories next season, of course you and Pleve stay on board the team, and then of course you were introduced with Don Venzito and Meters 555, so an all-American outfit, so it's interesting to stay there. So Jay, what do you think the moods are like at Williams? I mean, Williams don't have any drivers in the F1 or the F2, but in GP3, I mean, you're battling in the constructors against Mercedes, and Pierre is expected to be back for Canada after missing 2 rounds, but what's your relationship like with your teammate? I mean, if you have one.
I mean, there's a little bit of a language barrier there, so there hasn't been much communication, and the only communication really was maybe not, I don't know if anger is the right word for it, but like disappointment, I guess, that he missed 2 races in a row. I'm sure he's disappointed too, because he pretty well could be leading the drivers' championship right now. He's probably, I would go to say, the most dominant driver in GP3, but he missed those 2 races, so now it's time to get back to work and get back on top.
And just throwing it out there, because I mean, I could ask McKenzie about Ferrari's mood, but considering I'm part of Ferrari, we already kind of know what that is. Ferrari want more wins, they want more poles, they want me and McKenzie to kind of get our asses in gear and kind of get back up there, because since the 2 races and 2 race wins in Australia and China for McKenzie, and then the win for me in Bahrain, we haven't really seen much in the way of decent results, but beyond that, so
Yeah.
And then in GP3, which they're still struggling to find the balance with Banana Josh, and much like him, he's finding himself with a different teammate nearly every race. So, I think Mike's going to be a permanent role there. I think Mike will actually do really well for Ferrari after being in the B team of Haas. But okay, so moving along now. One thing that I want to ask you guys in general. Naomi 92. he definitely looks like a prime championship contender, but the one thing that is eluding him at the moment is race wins. But at the moment, you know, he's doing very well despite not winning.
Yeah, he's always up.
I've
He's always
noticed-
up in the conversation.
Yeah, he's a very consistent driver. He always seems to be somewhere near the front of the pack. And I remember in China, even when we got taken out by a certain driver that everybody's been talking about today, he was able to get back up to the front, and I think he placed third in that race. So he bagged a podium even after being taken out in turn 1, whereas the rest of us that got taken out in turn 1 didn't end up finishing anywhere near the podium. So that's just, I guess when he puts his head down and he races, I guess that's how he gets stuff done. He doesn't talk that much. He doesn't say that much. He just does.
Yeah, no, I just want to put something in that. Now he kind of reminds me of how Brett was driving in the beta test. Jay won't know that much, but Guy and Jonathon certainly will. Like look at Brett. Like, he didn't have any sort of chance at a race win last year, or in the beta test, but then he was still consistently at the front scoring points. And then look at him go at the end of the season. Even though there were a couple of controversial inputs that he made towards the end of the beta test, but look, again, like he was still at the front winning, and he still won the title. So like,
well, I mean, if Naomi 92 could pull it off, it's a far more accomplishable feat than what I did, because the beta test was only 10 races, and we're talking about a full 20 race season. So I think, it's like I said to Guy in the moment of seriousness, you may win the championship without winning a race, but you want to win it. You want to win. There's no, you don't, winning a championship without winning a race feels like winning the NRL without scoring a try, or, you know, winning winning an ice hockey match without punching someone over. But
Without scoring a goal would be more like it.
well, I've watched a lot of ice
Yeah,
hockey.
winning. No.
I've watched
Here's
a lot
good
of
one.
ice hockey,
Yeah,
and
you
I
can't-
think any race,
Here's a good
any
one.
game that doesn't end up with
And a
someone
punch
winning in a
up.
brawl is quite disappointing. But anyway, we'll move.
Now you're
We'll go.
now you're
we'll
speaking
go
like
more
a
in
true
depth,
Canadian.
Yeah, we'll go more in depth of this in Superstars, because we know that's going to probably end up blowing out of proportion there. So moving to Canada. So Canada. Actually, I'm going to explain a new process to how this broadcast works. So we're going to just be doing all the talking here and there, and then all the videos of like Guy's moment of seriousness and all that will be played at the very end of the video. So there's no spaces in between. So moving to Canada. Canada is a track that it's often compared to it by Monaco, and it's not 100% incorrect. So Monaco and Canada really share a lot of common personalities. They're both tight, they're both tricky, and they're both very risk versus reward type tracks. And of course, after this we go to Baku, which is very much the same prospect. So, you know, 3 tracks where damage limitation, well, survival of the fittest becomes a real playing point in it. McKenzie, coming into this, these are the 3 tracks where you need to score decently well, otherwise these 3 tracks can make or break your championship.
yeah, you're exactly right there. Like Monaco last week for us wasn't a strong race, but but Baku and Canada, I'm feeling, well, the team's feeling quite confident as well, and I'm sure you're feeling quite confident as well. Like, everyone's seen the pace of the Ferraris going into this week, and we're just going to hope to bring that into a race consistency, because you haven't mentioned this yet, but it is 100% race this weekend at Canada, so it's just going to be consistent, clean, keep it out of the walls, and just keep the car on the track, and hopefully now the strategy, and hopefully we'll see a couple of Ferrari wins this weekend in all 3 categories, hopefully.
Well, one of the things that I've noticed, and I had a chat with Guy about this earlier this morning, a lot of drivers at the moment are chasing setup, because for some reason it seems like the track's evolved or something throughout the period of between now and the beta test, when of course that was when the brothers showed up. But of course, in the mid-season testing, Ferrari were on top without really much in the way of contesting from other teams. But all of a sudden now, drivers are chasing setups because the setups they used in the beta test have suddenly become unusable.
It's not just that. It's just like it's been a few months since the beta test as well. So like driver skills improved heaps, and obviously their driving style might have changed between then and now. So having to get different setups to adapt to the new driving style, I might say, they're obviously just having a bit of a struggle at the moment, just trying to see the difference between what worked then and what's going to work now. I know me and you are both having that problem at the moment as well, just trying to find new setups that suit the driving styles at the moment, because of the change in our pace, between then and now.
Anyone else want to shed some input on that?
Yeah, so as a new driver, I find that it's just not like changing driving styles. I just find Canada in general has been the hardest track to get the right setup for me personally to get going. I've just been tweaking things here and there, and I'll tweak something and I'll be like, oh, I like this setup, and I'll start using it, and then I'll well, no, I need to tweak this or that. So I find it very difficult because there's definitely a lot of there's the tight chicane at the end, and then there's long straights, there's a hairpin, and then there's a couple, I guess, mid-size long turns. So you have to kind of balance the car a bit of everything. So it's a little bit difficult to do that, I feel like.
Well, anyway, We'll just have a look further forward, and now we'll go ahead off Canada and look ahead at what's changing with season 2018. So a lot has been going on. I mean, for those watching, there's been a lot going on in the background for season 2018, and it's becoming a point now where a lot of drivers are just really waiting for F1 season 2018 to start, but more importantly, of course, they're waiting for F1 2018 to be confirmed by Codemasters, which we probably won't be too far away from expecting anyway. But Guy, I'm just going to move on to a piece of expectations. What do you expect to get out of this new 2018 game that could see maybe a change in fortune for the drivers trying to fight against the German brothers?
Yeah, it's a tough one, isn't it? They're so fast. There's only so much help you think you can get. But I think perhaps just some changes to the mechanics of the game, of the handling of the cars, may just help some people over others. They may take longer to adjust than other people to the new game, which obviously will allow people like myself or like yourself to gain a few points on them here and there. Apart from that, it's going to be tough. I mean, the changeover, unless people are really that distracted by the halo, I can't see it being massively different. I think online features, there's a few things that would be nice to see, just a few little details. Things like things. Black flags might be a good shout at times, you think. But
red flags,
things,
the red flags would be good as well.
It'd be nice to get some more detail sometimes from the engineer, things like that. Things would help. But nothing that I can see being that major enough that are gonna suddenly jump the field up to catch the brothers, because I don't think the cars are going to be that different to handle. So unless they've changed the mechanics massively.
Well, one of the things I wouldn't mind seeing actually is a more detailed explanation from the engineer, whether it's going to be Jeff or not. It probably will be. I can't imagine them changing that anytime soon. But,
I don't like Jeff.
But more in-depth information, like if they could say that your pace is so slow, your pace on the straights is slow, come in to adjust your wing, or gives you a bit more insight about how you.
it'd be nice, like things sometimes if it says the person behind you has a penalty, it'd be nice to know how many penalties they have, things like that.
Or if the
when
guy
it
in
says
front is, or if the guy in
where you're
front
going to
is,
rejoin on the track.
yeah, or
Yeah.
if the guy is struggling in front, they tell you to push, and or even, I mean, this is a long shot. If, let's say, online it could say, okay, the Mercedes boys have just told Lewis Hamilton to push, so we want you to push as well, or things like that. Things that kind of motivate you, because Jeff spends a lot of the time demotivating you in the race. I think,
and just sandbagging.
I think a lot of people here can easily say that we've all gotten the trophy for telling Jeff to shut up. So
Yeah, pretty much.
yeah, I don't think there'll be a single driver in the world that hasn't got that trophy yet, not by wanting to get it, but by just telling Jeff to shut up because it gets on your nerves. But anyway, we'll move a bit further forward. We'll wrap it up here today for Canada. And then don't forget to tune into Trans Nation Superstars. Of course, that's probably going to be uploaded first, so maybe I should just start referring to this broadcast for the Superstars and reverse the order, since Superstars generally does get uploaded first. So anyway, tune in later on throughout the week, of course, to see coverage of the Trans Nation Challenge Round 7, the Canadian Grand Prix. 100% race, of course, like McKenzie put out. So expect to see about an hour and a half of decent racing. And God, I hope that doesn't get picked up in the background, unfortunately. Sorry. Anyway,
Before we get interrupted.
yeah, so this has been Brett Keenan, Jaydon, Alton, Jonathon, Carten, Guy Tasker, and McKenzie Stewart signing out, and we'll see you again at Baku for the European Grand Prix.
Okay, hi guys, and welcome to the next instalment of Guy Tasker's Moment of Seriousness. Joining me today is Jonathon Carten, otherwise known as Habs for Life 634, I think it is. One of the most popular people in the league, I feel. One of the most popular drivers, I think, in the paddock. I don't think he's made any enemies yet. So, welcome, Jonathon. How are you today? You good?
Doing good, yeah.
That's good. That's what we like. Yeah, looking forward to Canada coming up.
Definitely looking at the Grand Prix and all. Hoping to do well.
Yeah, home Grand Prix, that's true. So, first question I'm going to start with, something that actually interests me. Talking about your name, Habs for Life. What's the meaning behind that name? Just out of interest, where did the inspiration for that name come from?
My favorite on the Montreal Canadiens. Their team cheered for since I started watching hockey in 2004, and the team, know full well that I'm going to be cheering for them for the rest of my life. I just figured, hey, why not Habs for life?
Ah, okay, so fair enough. So it's the ice hockey team, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, nice. That makes sense then.
Yeah.
I've got it now. So, a little bit, how we all tend to start off, a little bit about you outside of the world of TNC. What would you say your hobbies are? What do you like to do with yourself? How do you spend your free time, pretty much?
Well, when I'm not prepping for the next race, and actually working at my job, I work in my home.
Nice.
Down here, French in Nebraska. Work for Walmart. Well, I hope it's a worldwide. I work in the electronic where I've got my IT degree and everything like that. That's for most of the day, but when I'm not at work, I'm pretty much sitting home playing anything.
Yeah, that's sounds a bit more productive than some of the members in the league. I think. I think a few other members would wish they had a job as well to to go to earn some money. Oh, so well.
Yeah, definitely.
What other things do you like to play then? You say you like to, sit at home, play a few games, don't we all? What other things? What game takes your fancy at the moment?
Right now, I've been a bit of first, and I plan on sticking with home. Get through that so I can start pull, but I'm also putting a lot of my time as well in the MLB, trying to the player in Dynasty mode, trying to grind my way towards the 99 overall Vladimir reward for completing for getting every single player in the game.
Sorry, what game was that? I'm having a bit of a connection problem here. It just it's dropping in and out, so apologies for that, listeners. What was that again? Just just go through your answer again there. Just
MLB.
MLB the show. Oh, I got you. There we go. Yeah. Oh, okay, yeah. MLB the show. Yeah, it looks like a really good game actually. I've seen some clips of it. But
It is.
yeah. Anyway, we'll move on to more of the F1 related topics now. So here's a question I've been asking everyone so far. I asked Brett and I've asked McKenzie the same question. What's your favourite track on the calendar, would you say? So what are you looking forward to most to driving around?
A lot of people don't like the track. I've got a couple of tracks that I'm strong at. Baku, that I feel that I'm actually strong at.
Yeah,
Stronger around Baku.
I share that opinion actually. I quite like Baku.
It's a track. Singapore definitely is another one that I enjoy, and Abu Dhabi. So more like the two actual courses are the ones that I seem to excel at.
Ah, interesting. Yeah, there's some slightly different ones. You don't often hear those when you ask people that question. And also, in the real world of F1, yeah, this is another question I've been asking everyone as well. So just interesting to see everyone's perspectives on it. Do you have a favourite driver or a favourite car at the moment? Do you support a team or a driver really when you in the real world as such?
Like, Mercedes and GP, the only reason that I actually picked to go with Mercedes and GP.
Ah, okay.
Because, and might not be the popular opinion, but I am Lewis Hamilton. He is one of my favorite drivers, but I do, if Bottas in the position to get the win.
Yeah, well, I can understand that. I mean, myself. Yeah, well, with myself being British, of course, I'm a bit of a Hamilton fan as well. So, yeah, I can understand that.
And of course, too, I have to be partial to
I was just about to say that. I was going to say I was expecting you to say Lance Stroll.
He's still got some learning to do.
Yeah, he does. He's still young, but he's getting there. Not helped by the fact that Williams obviously isn't the best car on the grid at the moment. But
yeah.
Anyway, moving on to TNC and what we've been doing there. How would you say your season's gone so far, really, in the TNC GP3? Bit mixed, considering you showed such promising pace in the pre-season testing and the post-season testing, actually, from last season. You were the pace setter there, winning both races, if I remember correctly. And yeah, this season, yet to get the first win. Bit up and down. How would you sum it up so far? How do you feel about it?
I wish I could have bet a lot of the races better. A lot of it's just been bad luck getting caught up in the incidents.
Yep, I've been able to see that.
That ends up down the order. Monaco last week definitely was one of my honestly, it's like, I advised going around that track. It's like, but it lasted 15 laps before getting it 15 laps. I was like, that's one of the courses that I'm like, it might be a
It is a painful track at times.
I cannot see the graph on it. And it's actually, like, it is. It gave me that boost. It gave me the confidence, like, maybe things are starting to turn around. And then I had that bad performance at Monaco. Pretty much I said to myself after the race, I said, everybody has their difficulties. Even the pros have difficulties with Monaco. And, like, look towards the next race, look towards Canada. It's home Grand Prix. That just gives you that time, do practicing, and
No, that sounds very true. It's Monaco's always a tricky one. Can catch anyone out on their day, and I think it looks well, where better to get your season back on track than your home Grand Prix, really, in Canada. So I'm sure that's got to be that could well prove to be a turning point in the season. And speaking about the rest of the season, a turning point. What are your hopes going forward? Where have you set yourself a target of where you'd like to finish in the Drivers' Championship or even Constructors' Championship? What do you hope to achieve? To get one race win, maybe?
Now that I've got myself turned back to get a couple of race wins, get myself back up in.
Yeah, of course.
This is not going to advance with me, like, competing for a championship unless something happens. But I'd like into, like, top 3 in the standings this season, and put myself into a good position to contend for the Drivers' Championship and that too in 2018. But in terms of the Constructors' Championship, if I can perform well and earn the event and continue taking home that Constructors' Championship.
Yeah, well, that's certainly the goal, isn't it, for yourself? And I think what I will say is that the field has been so tightly packed. I don't see, it's not going to take a massive turnaround, I don't think, for you to start getting those right results again. And speaking of which, what would you say is the key to getting those results just going your way again? I know you mentioned, just a bit of bad luck on the start of the races and things like that. What would you say is, what do you need to do just to get that bit of, slightly better luck to get yourself up on the podium now?
Staying out of the stop incidents that happen on the first lap.
Yeah, staying out of first lap incidents is a big help.
Have to be near the back. It's just isn't exactly, and every race because of get that qualifying pace up there, step in and push on.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, so obviously starting high up. We're having a few connection issues. It's being a little bit delayed, so we might be missing out one or two words here, but I think we're getting most of it here. So, I think if I'm correct me if I'm wrong, I think what you were saying is upping your qualifying pace there, just to get yourself starting a little bit higher up the grid, and hopefully that will help you avoid some of the first lap collisions. Is that what you were saying?
Yeah, exactly.
Ah, okay, perfect. Yeah, sorry, we're just having apologies for any any technical difficulties that we're having with anyone. But anyway, we'll close off the interview just asking you about how you view, or who you view your main competitors to be. Do you have any rivals that you've made so far? I said at the beginning, obviously, I think you're one of the popular figures in the drivers' lounge. But yeah, do you have any rivals? Anyone you look to beat every week, or anyone you think you're going to be fighting against regularly?
To be quite honest, I would have said Jaydon after that race in Monaco. Up on after the Canadian, like, obviously, yes, he's going to be my rival because we're going to want to see who's going to be the best Canadian in the field. But in the end, it's like, I don't really see, yet, haven't really been making much, like, my goal there is not to make enemies. Pretty much, like, because you go out there and you make enemies, it's going to get harder on you to get past. Like, if they've got that this racer lower the championship, and they know that you're trying to compete for the champ, you have to show that pace to them that, hey, I've got this, like, I've got the pace, I'm behind you, I'm also in the running for the championship, you're not. So that they can move in, it can show to them as well, like, hey, you can move out of the way, and well, I'm not trying to, because I want the same thing for you, so I do the same thing for the other drivers if it was in.
Yeah, understandable.
If it was the other building up.
No, I think that speaks a lot of sense. That definitely a thing that it's very noble of you to. But yeah, I can definitely understand. The Canadian rivalry there between you and Jay. Wanting to. You always want to be the best. The best from your country, the national hero as such. So I can understand that, a little bit of friendly rivalry going on there. But anyway, I think that draws the moment of seriousness to a close for this week. So thank you very much, Jonathon, for joining us. And I hope to catch you all again.
It's an honor to be a part of it.
Well, thank you very much. So we'll catch you all again next week, guys. It's been Guy Tasker, and this has been the moment of seriousness.
Welcome to Canada, my home Grand Prix, Jonathon's home Grand Prix. And as we jump in the car here, I am driving this lap in a Mercedes instead of a Ferrari like you usually see Brett driving. And is bringing around the final chicane here and start my lap. Hit the DRS and cross the line, start the lap into the first corner, down to fourth through here, down to third through here. You want to get a good exit out of here because, I mean, pretty much every corner on this track you can make or break your lap. You want to gain as much, you want to take as much of the corner there as possible because you can gain or lose a lot of time there. And grab the curb here as you come through here and get a good exit off of here. And then you come into this S section where you can also gain or lose a lot of time. And it's very hard to keep it out of the wall while still having a good fast lap. As you can see, you could take a little bit more track there and get a better exit, but you have to risk crashing into the wall, coming down into the hairpin, one of the most important parts of the track. You're in second gear and you need to get a good exit on the final straight. It's a very long final straight, and the better you exit, the faster you'll have time. And also another crucial part of the track is this final chicane. As you bring it down, fourth gear, and get it through the chicane, get a good exit off of there, and across the line.
Welcome back to the weekly pit lane report following the Monaco Grand Prix. My name is Axel Eriksson and I will be presenting this week's news for you. Ferrari were left scratching their heads after a very below average weekend at the Monaco Grand Prix. Their GP2 driver Stuart McKenzie priced himself as a contender for the win last weekend, only to find himself fighting for 6th after a poor qualifying by the current points leader. Speaking on current point leaders, former point leader Narashi Uzumaki had a very poor race in the eyes of those around him, and even Ferrari themselves felt that this race was very enlightened for him, given he found his results were barrier bound. Despite this, he's only 3 points behind new leader Rabbit96 and thinks Canada is a good way to at least leapfrog him in the points, though he knows that Novak 3712 is bound to jump them both after this weekend's Canadian Grand Prix, unless all goes wrong for Germany. I also had a chat with the current F1 Championship leader Rabbit96, who has had a great start to the season. Apart from Australia and Russia, he has managed to finish near the top in almost every race. He believes that consistency is the most important part of F1, and as long as he is consistent, he is sure he will win the title. Moving over to GP2, I had a chat with the race winner Che, who grabbed pole in Monaco and controlled the race from start to finish. He said that at first he was trying to create a gap between himself and the car behind him. Once he was comfortable with the gap, he was just trying to avoid contact with the barriers. In the end, no one could match the Argentinian, and he won 18 seconds ahead of the next car. When I asked him if he was disappointed with the current situation in the championship, he replied by saying not at all. He chooses to focus on the fact that he is 3rd in the championship. According to himself, he was not expecting that. McLaren is now 18 points ahead of Sauber in the constructors. Yes, you heard that right. McLaren, Honda and Sauber is topping the table. It just shows how good their drivers have been so far. Anyways, with McLaren so far in the lead at the moment in the constructors, they should be shifting their focus over to the Drivers' Championship. Their drivers are currently 3rd and 4th. According to Che, the team will let the drivers battle against each other, as long as it does not turn into a fight like in 2016 between Hamilton and Rosberg. Moving over to GP3, Arland Ang won after he grabbed pole position. He said that since Monaco was one of his weakest tracks, he prepared better than what he had done previously. After the Russian Grand Prix, his confidence skyrocketed, and he was able to push a lot harder in qualifying. Therefore, he grabbed pole. In the standings, he is now 1st together with Naomi92. They both have 83 points each. Ireland says that Canada is a track where he has to think outside the box in order to win. He says that his pace will most likely not be as good as some of the other drivers. However, he loves 100% races, and he also loves doing different strategies than others, so maybe we will still see Alton fight for the win. So what will we see out of the next race in Canada? Stay tuned to find out.
Hello guys, and welcome to the TNC channel. This is coming from TNC channel, but this is kind of a racing etiquette video to show you guys in the Transition Challenge the rules of corner rights and racecraft in general, and to know whether you should stick your nose in, because for some reason some of us having some issues, and just want to clear up some of the some of the things that people struggle with, and just knowing corner rights and knowing to kind of back off of this. This is what this video is going to explain. We're going to put this into three different parts of the whole racing etiquette thing, or kind of a tutorial of 3 parts. We're going to look what are your rights with overtaking, your rights when defending, and then we're going to look at some advanced techniques and one-line corners, and I'll get to them later on in the video. But this is just to corner rights and everything you need to basically know about racecraft in general. We're only talking about car-on-car battle, not multiple car battle. We'll probably do a advanced tutorial on that, but this is a simple tutorial on racing and racecraft in general. Just show some examples, basic examples, so people just know, can I dive at the inside here, or can I hang around the outside, or will he give me space? So this should clear up most of it, to know people what they are allowed to do. So with further ado, let's get into the meat of the video. So hello guys, and this is the first tutorial. So we're going to be focusing on the overtaking, what he can do, and we're going to demonstrate that the overtaker in a straight line can swerve any way he likes. So he can go to the inside, to the outside. As you see Brett here, he goes to the inside and then he flicks to the outside. Now he's allowed to be doing that. He can do as many times he can do that. Now we're going to be doing a textbook down the inside move, and this is the show of the past. Now we're going to slow it down a bit, a little bit fast, but here we go. So you see Brett pulls to the outside. Again, as you see, he's not close enough, or he's not side by side enough to say it's his corner. So right now McKenzie can take his traditional racing line, because Brett's not side by side. His front wing has to be near his helmet, but as you see, he lunges up in the brakes. So now Brett it's his corner, because now Brett is fully alongside and he's past the driver's helmet, or the front wing is past the driver's helmet. It's quite hard to judge that, but as you see, he's got the corner, it's his line, and McKenzie has to give him, he has to concede. So that's basically down the inside move. Now we're going to do the opposite. Yeah, the opposites. So now we're going to look at the opposite, where the overtaker tries around the outside, and what are his rights on the outside. And it's kind of the same as the last one, but to show you guys. So the defender chooses to go defensive, and we're going to slow it down for a bit here. As you see, he's going defensive. Now the overtaker can either choose to force it down the inside, but he sees there's not much of a gap there, and there's a lot of gap right there on the outside. So he is going to choose the outside. He comes to the braking zone. He starts to outbrake him quite a bit down around the outside, but he still has to clear him to take his racing line in the corner. He can either choose to hang around the outside, or he will let him have the place back. In this case, he lets him have the place back and continues his race. So now we're going to be looking at what you can't be doing when you're trying to overtake, the things that you shouldn't be doing, things you're not allowed to really do, and you'll probably award your penalty. And this is the first one here, is going for the gap that's not there, or going for the gap that will be vanishing. Now this is not a place you expect to pass, so the guy, he won't really be looking in his mirrors, and that's what you could be thinking, is it a place to pass? You see, he's not even alongside. He's alongside now, but his wheel is not at his, his mirror, so he shouldn't be there, and he's already committed to his line. And he goes for the gap, and contact's made, and then they start splitting it. And that's what you can't come. You can't be forcing moves like that. Not at all. It's not really an overtaking place. He wasn't alongside, so he shouldn't be there. And gap was vanishing, and you can't commit moves like that. That is a straight up. It's not. You can't be doing stuff like that. That in my books, and I'm the Stewart for GP3, not for GP2, but we should be following by these rules, and going for those gaps like that is going to cause you lots of drama. Now, damage is off for this one, but you could get a damaged front wing from that. So, just wait till the DRS straight and something. So now we're going to talk about dive bombs, and let me just clear up dive bombs. There's two types of dive bombs. There's a good one, and then there's the bad ones. And the bad ones is when you commit down the inside from a long way back, as usual, but they've already started tuning in, and we're going to demonstrate that with our next example. So now we've got the dive bomb that you shouldn't do, and the dive bomb that doesn't work. And we've got the overtaker. He's a long way back, and he tries to go down the inside, and the defender, or the guy ahead, starts tuning in, but when he's already tuned in, contact's made. So we're gonna slow it down a bit and just show you. So here we go. So we got a very slow motion here, as we see. Of course, the overtaker is playing a move, and we know he's gonna go up the inside. And we gotta find when the guy hits us tuning in. So he looks down the inside, and he starts tuning in. About now, he started to tune in. He's already tuned into the corner, and you see here, he's right here, and we see contact's made. So you can clearly see that he starts tuning into the corner when he's not even there, or the overtaker's not even there. Of course, he barges his way past. Now, I can't get a perfect example of this, but this is the types of moves you're gonna probably see, and it's trying to recreate these moves, but you can clearly see that that's a dive bomb, and you can see he's already committed to his line, and when someone recommits to the line, if you're not alongside them, you can't be there, and he's went for it. Now, if damage was on, you would expect a few more better wings and a bucket of KFC, but yeah, so that's the dive bomb that you shouldn't be doing. Now we're going to look for a dive bomb that you can do. You know, dive bombs that do work, and they can work, but most of the time they don't work because you got to be good at them. You got to know what you're doing. A dive bomb is an advanced technique to be doing. You know, it's, you know, you can't just go in there, and this kind of ties in with the advanced technique. So this is a advanced technique, which is the dive bomb. So again, we're gonna demonstrate a couple of dive bombs that do work. So we're gonna demonstrate them. Now we're going to be looking at the defender now, the guy who's defending, and this is now pay attention to what the purple car or pink car is doing. So now you're going to be demonstrating the defender. On the defensive side, you're going to make one move to block the attack. We're going to see a couple of examples. So this is the first example. He goes defensive, he sticks on his defensive line, and makes one move, and the guy around the outside tries a move. Now we're going to look at another example. Now there's another example here where this, you see right there, the person goes defensive, he's allowed to do these, block the one attack he's allowed to do, and he makes a move. Now we're going to take another example as they make contact. Yeah, don't worry about that, that was unprofessional. So as we can see, just slowing down a bit, he tries to go to the inside, but then the pink car makes a late move and defends it. He's making his one move, he's blocking the attack. Now this is getting very close, and you probably wouldn't want to do something this aggressive, but he's technically made his move, and he tries, now he's going to go around the outside. Now as a defender, you can technically move back over on the racing line to take your racing line at the end of the straight, but it's very risky, and I wouldn't recommend it. But you can do this sort of thing, but he doesn't move back over, but you see, he can technically move back over and say he's going to his traditional racing line. But I wouldn't recommend doing this. It's a very risky move because now he's thinking I can go down the outside. You can see the gaps right there, and with the defender, he's starting to move back over, but he doesn't move back over enough. But what you can see here is that he's already committed his move, and if you move back over, he might not be able to react fast enough. But you can technically do it, but it's pretty aggressive move. It's a pretty aggressive style move. If you're in F1, you can think of doing this move, but if you're in GP2 and 3, don't even think about doing that, because it's gonna get you in trouble. And most of the time it's not going to work because the guy overtaking might not be able to react fast enough unless he can sell the dummy, which is an advanced technique which we're not going to be looking at. But yeah, you can technically move back over to take your racing line, but I wouldn't recommend doing it, and you definitely shouldn't do it if they're beside you, or even if the front wing is even close to your rear wheel. Don't even think about doing that. Because yeah, you can only really move once. You can move back over to your racing line. I've read this in a book of the New Zealand Motorsport manual book. You can do it. Very risky. I wouldn't recommend it. But if you are doing it, you've got more of a chance of you're a big risk to play. Big risk. So now we're going to be looking at things you can't really be doing when defending. And one of the things is over aggressive defending. And this first example is the shove, you know, and the guy on the outside, you see, he's committed and he expects him to leave room, but he squeezes him a bit too much. And there's a difference between squeezing and a shove, and that's considered a shove where it could be a slight tap, you know, it could be a slight tap, and they go off the circuit, and that's unsportsmanlike behavior. You know, you don't want to be doing that. You know, squeezing, you can squeeze, you can force them, but you can only force them within the white lines. Those white lines you see are there for a reason, and you can squeeze them on the white line, but only to the white line, each of the white line. That's it. It's just, if you squeeze them any more off, then it's considered a shove. So as you can see, it's gonna take a while. I'm sorry, it's taking a while, but just explaining a bit more and squeezing while we're talking about, you know, the guy defending, as you see, he's already made his one move. You know, like we all know. He's making his one move, and the guy, you know, the overtaker, he's thinking, well, I'm gonna go down the round the outside, and just a bit more topical squeezing. Like I was saying, the white lines are there for a reason. You know, only there to enforce track limits, but they also are to enforce people squeezing each other on the track, and we will, you know, it's inevitable, you know. We all gonna do a bit of squeezing here, and especially on the last lap. That's something you would typically see on the last lap. You know, he could be, let's say, the pink car or the 14's got warm tires, and he's got to break through the guy on the outside. You know, he's got fresh tires or something. It's kind of ironic because I'm mediums, but anyways, he goes. Yeah, we can see he's diving around the outside here, and we can see. And when now to know if you have to leave him, this is a bit of touch and go, but if they're choosing around the outside, be wary of that. And you can see he's already committed around the outside. In fact, he's fully alongside. And the Force India just doesn't leave him room. He just takes his line and just squeezes him off. And this is considered a shove. You know, now he's out of the white lines. Now it's technically a shove. He's technically shoved him off the track. It's technically a shove. It's out of the white lines. Now, if that was in the white, if he was stayed within the white lines, it would be considered squeeze. You could say he's allowed to squeeze, but he's off the white line. Therefore, it's a shove. Technicality, guys. The white line's there for a reason. So yeah, that's considered a shove. Now we're going to look at some more examples of what you can't be doing. So now we're going to be looking at things you can't be doing, and this is one thing: swerving across the track, making multiple moves, and blocking. This is quite blatant, but you can see he makes a move and he's blocking. Now we're going to slow it down a bit. Now this is taking a while. Again, this is a pain. Should really fast forward this, but it gives me a bit more time to talk about it. But what we're going to be seeing here is, you know, the guy defending, he's blocking every attack the guy behind is doing, and now he's made his one move. He's making his move already, and now that's his one move. He can't move back over, but he does. So now he's being hang on. So he's making his one move, and it goes. So the overtaker goes to the inside, and now he's moving again. He's moving again to block his attacks. Now he moves back over, and now we're gonna see. He should be moving again back over, and he does it again. Now he's moved twice, 2 or 3 times. Now this is considered bad. Can't be doing this. And now he does it again, and moves over again on his line. You know, you can't be doing that. So I think we get the gist of it. Now that's what I'm trying to demonstrate is blocking. You know, even if you move twice, you can't be doing that, and that's considered blocking. But this is quite obvious, and I think we all know that's not okay. But yeah, so that's blocking. There's things you can't be doing. It's arrogant. You know, people are not gonna like you. But yeah, that's blocking. Now we're gonna be looking some more techniques of squeezing as well. I should have did this before, but we're going to show more examples of squeezing now. So now we're going to be looking at squeezing at its finest, and you see he's being better, okay, like, get the joke. But right now, this is a bit over aggressive squeezing. You know, this is the shit you can't be doing, and that's he's technically squeezing off the white line, and this is overly aggressive defending, things you can't be doing. Yeah, and right here, you see here, he's gonna go defensive, and the guy on the inside, he's you know, now the defender, he's gonna start squeezing me. You can see he moves over on him. You see that white line there? If he goes over that white line, or he gets squeezed. Now, usually it's all full tires, but he's literally rubbing him on the wall. And before it was okay, but now this is a bit aggressive. Yeah. I think he even gives him a slight tap and knocks him off the white line. Now he's off the white. Let's see, he's off the white line. He's off the track. He's been squeezed off. He's been shoved off. That's the technicality. Now, back there it was you could say it's pushing. You're pushing the boundary when you're doing that, and you know and he's technically gotten shoved off the track. It's a shove. It's classified as a shove, so therefore he's in the wrong. Can't be doing that sort of stuff. I think that's all I have for defending and overtaking. Now we're going to look at one line corners. So now we're going to be looking at a one-line corner, and the final chicane at Canada is a classic one to be doing. And now we've got this is where we're really going to be talking about one line corner, and if you have the inside corner, most of the time it's your corner, and we see the Haas is ahead of the Ferrari, or at least side by side, so the Haas has the corner, and the Sauber should back out. He has to back up. Fitting 2 cars through the final chicane is deadly. So yeah, that's basically what I've got to talk about, the one line corners, and now we're going to very soon look at the other. Can the outside guy have the corner? And yes, he can have the corner if he can clear him. So now we're on the outside guy. So this is the cell that's on the outside now. It can be his corner if he manages to clear him. If his rear wheel can get past the driver, if he can clear him. So basically, if he can get his car clear, or get his opponent's front wing next to his rear wheel, it's kind of the same really for the guy on the inside. But for the Sauber to have the line, he has to at least clear him, or almost clear him to take his racing line. And he has to make sure, or have trust that the guy is going to let him have the corner. That's the thing with one line corner. Don't ever go side by side, because you're going to end deadly. It's got problems, and you're going to be a complete D-bag on the track. So please, for this weekend, no one making you, if you're going to attempt to move, at least concede the place. So that's all I have for today for part 1. I think I might have more for part 2, but this is basically basic racing techniques in the racecraft. The basics you guys need to know to make sure you can make simple, safe, clean passes. And I'll put in one note as well. Most times down to the overtaking cars to make the pass safely, but we also got to make sure that the guy defending has to play it safe as well. Works on both parts. Overtaker and defender have to be safe. And this is what I'm saying. Corner rights, if you're on the inside, the front wing has to be at least past halfway from driving helmet. Otherwise, if you ain't there, it's technically not your corner. If you can get to there, then it's your corner, and vice versa on the guy on the outside. The guy on the outside has to get his opponent's front wing behind his helmet for him to be able to take his race line, and trust the guy on the inside to let him have the corner, because technically it's corner. So that's all I really have for you guys today. Hope you guys enjoyed your day. And the next part, sorry, I also forgot to mention, I didn't show the good dive bomb as well. That's an advanced racing technique. I'll be showing that in the next video. But until then, next part we're going to be looking at more advanced racing techniques as well. We might have a few battling packs, or introducing battle packs where you're battling in a pack, and that stuff can get a lot